Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Ashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Open your page number 2, the Shanti Mantra. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrotram Atho Balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarod Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirate Ya Upanishatsu dharmaha Te mai santo Te mai santo. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Open the page number 3. That's the very first passage in the ChhandogyaUpanishad. Means this is a passage or statement with which the Upanishad commences, the Upanishad begins. Om ityedadaksharam udgitham upasita Om itihi udgayate tasya upavyakhyanam. So the Upanishad begins with that Om. Om iti etad aksharam. Om iti etad aksharam. Aksharam means a word, or the letter, or the sound. Udgitham upasita. Upasita may one meditate upon Udgitha. So remember that the Chandogya Upanishad belongs to the Samaveda, and we imagine here that a teacher of Brahma Vidya is now instructing the disciples who have had the background of reciting Samaveda. As you know, there are three Vedas: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvaveda. Of that, the Rigveda is perhaps the most ancient Veda or the primary Veda. And the passages of the Rigveda is called Ruk or Ruchas, Ruk. And usually they are composed in metrical form, means that in meters they can be recited not only but sung or chanted. And there are as many as 7 meters in Rigveda. Gayatri, Ushnik, Anushtup, Trishtup. Thus there are 7 meters. And every meter has its own composition and arrangement of the letters. And if thus the sentence is composed in that manner, then you can recite it properly. Like Anushtup Chanda, with which we are familiar. Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yutsavaha. So then there is a system here. How the letters are arranged, what are the dirgha, meaning the long and short, etc. And the same mantra, some of these mantras of Rigveda are taken in Samaveda and they are sung. So they are called Udgatas because Sama is sung. Same Ruk is sung. So when something is sung, then it does get a bit changed or distorted. You sometimes listen to the singers and musicians who sing even Sanskrit compositions, but when they sing in a certain raga, then to do justice to the raga or the rhythm, the tune, you may have to distort somewhat the text. Similarly also when you listen to Samaveda, you find similarly also that sometimes the words and letters are elongated in order to fit into that melody. It is said that a typical Sama, meaning a typical mantra, is sung, it begins, it rises to the highest level and then comes to the lowest level. So it's said that it is sung in 5 stages. So Panchavida Sama. When the Sama is sung in 5, this Hinkara, there are names given to different stages. When it begins, that is called Hinkara, begins with him perhaps. Then rises to Prastava. Then Udgitha. So Udgitha is the loudest chanting. Then Pratiharaha. And then Nidhanaha. So this Nidhana means the conclusion. So this is Panchavida Sama. I mean the Sama is sung in these 5 stages. The melodious singing is in 5 stages. Or 5 notes you may say. And then there is Saptavida Sama also. Same 5 in which you add 2 more. So Hinkaraha, Prastavaha, in between Adihi, Udgitha, Pratiharaha, then upadravaha, and nidhanaha. So saptavida sama. So they say that the Indian music has its origin in this Samaveda. Saptaswara, Sari, Gama, Pada, So the experts trace that origin into this Samaveda. And so it's sung in a melodious way, of which the loudest and the most important part is Udgita, when the melody rises and then culminates in Udgita and then subsides. So you may say that Udgita, which is loud chanting, is the most important element of a given Sama or a given mantra of Samaveda. So that Udgita is referred to here in this particular passage. Omiti idaksharam Udgitam upasita. In this Udgita is called Udgita. Because in Udgita also that the Udgita part begins with the Om. Since Udgita begins with Om, therefore here the Upanishad says, may you meditate upon Om, which is part of Udgita. Om is an independent thing also, but Om also appears in Udgita. So interestingly enough, this passage prescribes upasana or meditation upon Om as occurring in Udgita, not just any Om, understand? So why is it done this way? Meaning that this meditation here is not an independent meditation. Meditation is a part of ritual in which Udgita also is sung, and Om that occurs in Udgita is Om which is presented here as the symbol for meditation. Just for your general information. So here Shankaracharya explains how come the teacher asks the disciples to meditate not simply on Om, but Om that occurs in Udgita. Why is it so? Because these disciples who are in front of this teacher, they are all born and raised in the tradition of Samaveda. They have been reciting Samaveda. They have been performing rituals also prescribed in Samaveda. And therefore, their orientation is the orientation of rituals. So one of the characteristics of the meditation that we find in the Upanishads is that the meditation is something that suits, the listener. We pointed out in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is Samhita Upanishad, meditation on the basis of Samhita or conjoining of the letters, Ishetva. So, Ishe and Tva, in between one letter is added, and so conjoining of the letters, that forms the basis of meditation. You superimpose something here and something there and something there. Because those students perhaps are coming from a background of grammar, and therefore the meditation that is, uses that grammar or conjoining the letters as a basis, so students are familiar with that. It's much easier for us to imbibe something which is based on what we are familiar with, rather than something that we are not familiar with. As far as we are all concerned, we are not familiar with anything here anyway. But still, in the context of ChhandogyaUpanishad, which belongs to Samaveda, the teacher is instructing the disciples to meditate upon Om, and not just Om in general, Om, that is part of this Udgita, which is the third stage or the highest, the loudest stage in chanting of the Sama. And the student knows what that Om is because the next sentence is Om iti Udgayate. Because when the reciters begin the recital of Udgita stage of that Sama, it begins with Om. Therefore, because this recital of Udgita begins with Om, therefore, the teacher says, may you meditate upon Om, which is Udgita. So here now Bhashyakara explains, Om iti, if you see the text, Om iti etad aksharam, there is an iti there after Om. Now the Om is something that is most well known in the Vedic tradition. In many Upanishads, we find that the teacher prescribes a meditation based on Om. Very often, before the teaching of the Upanishad begins, as I said, that meditation is meant to prepare the mind for the Shravanam or listening or contemplation upon the self. Shravanam or listening to the teacher is nothing but contemplation upon the self, upon Brahman. So you need that kind of a contemplative mind. Dushyate tu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhi. Upanishad says that the mind must be sukshma, must be subtle. And agra means it must be single pointed, focused. The mind should enjoy subtlety. What is meant by subtlety is the capacity to grasp the subtle meanings of the text as unfolded by the teacher. And instead of ekagrata, single focus, so that it is free from all other distractions. Ideally, that's the kind of mind that we require for listening to the Upanishads. And the preparation for that mind is upasana or meditation is prescribed, as we discussed yesterday. Because this contemplation upon the self that takes place during shravanam or listening to the scripture is also a mental process. Upasana meditation also is a mental process. Although two mental processes are of different nature, but both are mental processes, understand? At the exclusion of all other activities, you follow? So meditation also is a process of the mind at the exclusion of all other activities, where all organs of perception also, you withdraw your attention from all organs of perception, all organs of action, and all that is active in our personality is just the mind. It's a purely mental activity. Meaning that it requires on our part a capacity to be able to withdraw the mind from its usual habits of thinking of many things, because the mind is somewhat restless and needs some kind of an occupation. So it wants to see through the eyes, wants to hear through the ears, wants to touch something to the, wants to do things. As long as mind has this kind of restlessness, so long it cannot enjoy the focus, and that mind will not be quite ready for listening to the exposition of the self. And the upasana or meditation is prescribed as a preparatory state. That meditation does not require as much subtlety as contemplation of oneself, but it does require subtlety, and so you practice this meditation to create that subtlety of the mind to prepare it for contemplation upon the self. So even though Chandogya is an Upanishad, said yesterday, it begins with these various meditations, the upasanas. And with upasana is not simple meditation, it is mental worship. Meditation of the nature of worship is called upasana. Therefore, a spirit of worship is involved here. And this statement says, Om iti upasita. May you meditate upon Om. Then Om iti. Thus, so Bhashyakara explains, this Om is of course a sound. Om is a sound. And Om also is a word. So in Upanishads, you find that Om is used both as a sound as well as a word or a name. So when there is a word, then there is a meaning, Vachya, Vachaka. What is called Vachaka, and it is a meaning Vachya. Tasya Vachakaha Pranavaha, and then Om is said to be the name of Tasya, of the Lord. Says Om Tasmini, so says Paramatman Abhidanam. Abhidanam means name. Om is the name of Paramatma, of Brahman, of Ishvara, of the Lord. Of course, Lord has so many names. In Vedas also, so many names are found. Bhava, Sharva, Rudra, Pashupati. So all these Bhava, Sharva, Rudra, Pashupati, so many names are found in Vedas themselves, which refer to Ishvara. So what is the specialty that Om enjoys with reference to other names? Says Nedishtham. It is the most proximate, most intimate name of Om. Nikadatamam Atishayana Priyam. Om is, this name is always very dear to the person who possesses that name. We like our name. And therefore, when somebody calls me by name, immediately my attention is drawn. We are identified with our name. And we like our name being uttered. When people talk about me, about my name, and Swami so and so, and then, I'm happy. Because when they talk about name, they talk about me, because name and the one who is named are not different. Is it not so? That is the identification of the nama and the naming. The name and one who is named, in fact, you cannot separate the two. We cannot separate the word and the meaning. When a word pot is occurred, automatically the object pot, that thought flashes in our mind. We'll talk about it a little later because we have chosen another passage to talk about this. But in short, Om is the name of the Lord. And there are many names. So what is the distinction that Om enjoys with reference to other names? Is that Bhashyakara says, Nedishtham Priyatam. It is the most dear name, dearest name, dearest to the Lord. So sometimes people have many names. And it is likely that you may like one name more than other names. So Ishvara also has countless names. He also seems to like some names more than other names, as Bhashyakara says. And that this name Om is Nedishtham Priyatamam, is most dear to the Lord. Tasmini prayujyamane sa prasidati. Priyanamagrahane lokaha. So when somebody calls me by my name, not only it draws my attention, but I am pleased when my name is uttered. When somebody calls me particularly by the name that is dear to me, it may not be just a Swami or person may have this standard name. Other names are also there. Like Lord Rama, his name is Rama. It's a beautiful name, no doubt. But then Sitaji used to very often refer to Lord Rama as the most compassionate, So such a name would be very dear. When you refer to he compassionate, he karunakara, he mind of compassion. So that because that invokes from you, you are pleased when you are referred or described as a compassionate person, as a loving person, as a generous person, you see. So if there is a name that describes you as a compassionate, as loving, as charitable, as generous, you are pleased. So when you are addressed by that name, not only it draws your attention, but then you are pleased with that name. So you are pleased with the person who utters that name. You follow? It's important. Which name you use. People use all kinds of names, and behind our back we don't know what names they use, In the front they may say one thing, at the back they may say something else. That you find out from other people. But then, so of course there are some people who know what, so how to flatter somebody and how to use those names. But can you flatter Ishvara? Our Swami used to ask this question. Can you flatter Ishvara? What is flattery? Flattery is that you describe him in terms which are much more than what he really is. Say omniscient, somebody said, attached to me, what do you mean omniscient? I know who I am. But omniscient, that is flattery. That word, Swamiji, you're the greatest, I know this is, So flattery also can draw your attention, you may please, but that is all for the small, minded people. Ishvara cannot be flattered because he is greater than any kind of a name. So a name has a meaning, it transcends all the meaning, and that is greater than any name that you can utter. So when we say Ishvara, hey, you are omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, we are not flattering, we are describing him. So of these various names that are used, says Shankaracharya, that Om is the name of the Lord, Nedishtam, means, so it is the most proximate. Nikatatamam, Nedishtam means the most proximate. Proximate not in terms only distance or physical thing, in terms of the heart, means the most proximate, most dear to him. And therefore, when you utter that name, he is pleased. So purpose of worship is to please the Lord. Why don't you please him? To fulfill your desire. But suppose you only please him without any desire, suppose. You just please him because it's a pleasure to please him, suppose, That can be so. Can it be? You want to please somebody because it's pleasure to please him. You are pleased when you see him pleased. That is also possible. Usually we are pleased when, our agenda is satisfied. Our desire is satisfied. That we are rewarded with something that we like. That's usually why we are pleased. But when we love somebody, we don't always demand any kind of a reward, tangible reward. When it comes to love, as Sayyid Narada says, Tat sukhe sukhitvam. We are happy by making that person happy. I'm sure all of you have experienced. When you love somebody, your happiness comes from the happiness of the other one. So therefore also you please the Lord, not because you want any favor from Him. Ideal worship is this, that I please the Lord not for any kind of a personal agenda, but it is my pleasure to please Him. Meaning that I am pleased by seeing Him pleased. You follow? That's the purest kind of pleasure. And that is the happiness that they are prescribing. That's what the Karma Yoga also tells us. Be a contributor. Meaning that may you derive happiness by making somebody happy. That's the principle of bhakti. Means devotion. So upasana ideally should involve devotion. This meditation ideally should involve devotion. That not only mechanically utter the name, you utter that with devotion. Then here, so one way of worshipping Ishvara is by repeating His name, Om, Om His name. But here Shankaracharya says that when this text says, Om iti etad aksharam udgitam upasita, may you meditate upon Om. Om is not only the word or name, or not only name, it is also a word or a sound also, isn't it? Om. So it is called a word. In the beginning, there was word, and word was God, so they say. So what is that word? As far as Veda is concerned, that word is Om. So last night discussion on primordial substance, So what do the yogis talk about the primordial, not substance, primordial cause is Om, is the primordial sound. If this scientists study our text, they'll get some insights into what the Vedas talk about as the origin of the creation. But it does not fall in the purview of science, unfortunately. Because the primordial sound, that's what yogis say, here also, Om is a sound as well. And the sacred sound. This Om is not only sound, but a very sacred sound. Omkaras chat shabdascha dvavetau, say one verse says, when Brahma the creator created, when Brahmaji created the universe, before creating he uttered these two words, Om Atha. So he began this act of creation. Now, act of creating universe is the most sacred act, in fact. There cannot be anything more sacred than that. So when Brahmaji undertook this act of creation, he uttered these two words, Om Atha, Om Atha. So Om is also a challenge of what? So Bhashyakara says, therefore, Om also is sound, and we are saying that it is primordial sound, from which the whole universe emerged. So, you see how they explain the origin of sound also. Sound also has 4 stages. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikhari. There are 4 stages of sound. What we hear, which is uttered through the throat, is called Vaikhari, that stage of the sound. The most evident and grossest stage of sound is called Vaikhari, which we hear through our ears. But before the sound is uttered from my mouth, it is in the form of thought, because the thought that in fact is articulated as word, is it not so? A word, before it is uttered from my mouth, is in the form of a thought. And the thought also, before it is manifest thought is in unmanifest state. And the unmanifest thought is what? Is nothing but consciousness. So consciousness manifests as unmanifest thought. The unmanifest thought becomes the manifest thought, and manifest thought becomes the sound. So that's how they explain creation. This manifest sound are all the different names, and then we'll see how names are nothing but the forms. So the universe of names and forms is a manifest creation, which was thought, sankalpa. Before there was unmanifest, and before that it was consciousness. So primordial cause, of course, is para, means consciousness. Then its first manifestation is the unmanifest. It's called prakriti, avyakta, avyakruta. Then its second manifestation is thought. It's called sankalpa, so kamayata. Ishvara thought, may I become many. And then as a result comes from thought comes these names and forms. So this is also a process of creation explained, by the way. And so Om is what? The primordial sound. It represents the primordial sound. Primordial can be consciousness, unmanifest, manifest, and manifest universe. That's why it is nothing but Ishvara. It is most sacred. So here Vashyakara says that when the Upanishad Om iti upasita, may you meditate upon Om. It is not Om that is the name or the name of Ishvara. It is the word or the primordial sound that is Ishvara. So may you meditate upon Om as is just sound. In which case called pratika or a symbol. So Ishvara is worshipped in many symbols. In our temple, worshipped as what? A linga, as a symbol. If you go to Puja Swamiji's, this Adhishthanam or Samadhi, the Adhishthanam they call it. The Shivalinga, there is also a black stone. It's called Shaligrama. So Lord Vishnu is worshipped in this Shaligrama. Meaning Shaligrama, that stone, becomes a symbol upon which is superimposed idea of Vishnu and worship it as Vishnu. The stone itself is worshipped as Vishnu. You don't worship stone. You worship Vishnu, but stone itself is worshipped as. So there is some similarity. It's not that a symbol has some similarity with what you are superimposing upon that. Apparently, Shaligram also has some features in it. Like, there is that chakra or the circles are there, which represent the discus of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes signs of conch are also there in Shaligrama. So that is why Shaligrama is considered to be a fit symbol for, and of course its color is also dark, black. That's what Vishnu is Krishna, is black. Now they can paint him as blue, and then black people don't like in India. It's amazing. That's why they paint him blue, etc., which is fine. But Krishna means black. That's what Lord Krishna was, the black. But black is beautiful apparently, anyway. So Shaligram also has that color, has those features, and there were some similarities there between Shaligrama and Lord Vishnu. Or that Shivalinga, where Vishnu represents what we may call the Saguna Brahma or Brahma with all attributes. Lord Shiva represents the Nirguna Brahma or Brahman beyond attributes, formless, and so the Shivalinga is the closest to the formless, includes the whole universe. So therefore they become symbols because of some similarity with what they represent. And more tangible than that is, of course, a Murti, like Lord Krishna. Of course, represent all the features of that Murti they correspond to Lord Krishna. And becomes easier also to meditate upon that as Krishna. So in meditation, some kind of an imagination is involved. What is called superimposition is involved. Superimposition, you superimpose something which is not there, so superimpose upon Shaligrama the idea of Lord Vishnu. Superimpose upon that Shivalinga the idea of Lord Shiva. Superimpose the Murti of Lord Krishna as Lord Krishna himself. So this kind of meditation is called Pratika Upasana. Pratika means a symbol, which possesses some similarity with what it is that you are superimposing. Not anything doesn't become a symbol. Therefore, Shankaracharya would say that you should only choose those symbols which are prescribed by the scriptures, not just anything and everything. You know what Swami used to say? When you think of Ganesha, immediately form of Ganesha comes to your mind, elephant. So it must have taken centuries and centuries, millennia, to in fact fix that idea. With Ganesha, immediately with thy name the form comes. So a lot of marketing goes, marketing I should not say, but marketing you can see how people create that association of name and the form. It takes time to associate a form with the name. As we grow up, we don't know that relationship. The child doesn't know that. Child doesn't know the relationship between name and form. So education. A senior person says to a junior person, "Hey Rama, bring a cow." So little one listens. He doesn't know what is cow. So Rama brings something. Oh, so what is brought is cow. So he connects that cow with this thing. He connects bring with that kind of an action. When he hears several times, now in connection takes place. What? Cow means this. Pot. You did not know what is pot when you were a little infant, did we know? Or when we started talking, we didn't know this. It has taken quite some time for the connection between the word and the meaning to be established in our mind. It's not automatically takes place. It is there, but we must get those samskara, the training for that to happen in our mind. When that has happened, now if it is a mango, immediately the thought of mango takes place, because now it is established that what is the word mango and the object mango. The word part, the object part. The pada and artha is called padartha. Pada means the word, artha is the meaning. So similarly also Om is pada, and it has a meaning which is Ishvara, if it is name. But here we are not going for any kind of a meaning, we are just saying Om with the sound. That very sound Om becomes a symbol upon which you superimpose the idea of Ishvara. So utter Om, 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 and have the attitude that this is Ishvara, Brahman, Brahman, Paramatma, Ishvara. Saguna Brahma, of course, many Ishvara with various attributes, which will describe subsequently here how you should meditate upon Om. So here, in the very beginning, Upanishad says Om, the word, is Paramatma, and when we meditate upon Om, the very sound, as Paramatma, as Ishvara. So Om is the distinction, that it is both Nama as well as Pratika. It is name of the Lord as well as the symbol of the Lord. So now when you go to Chandogya Upanishad, there also a discussion of Om is there. It's all based on Om. To be between you and me, by itself, Om is a meaningless sound. You may not like, but all Bija mantras are supposedly meaningless sound. And you impart meaning to that. So what Chandogya Upanishad does, as we'll see a little later, is Om is Akara, Ukara, Makara. Upon that you superimpose a variety of ideas, and then that becomes the name of Brahman, and that's how you contemplate upon Brahman. So Nama is provided for contemplation, and this word sound is provided for meditation here. So Om, that is sound, becomes a pratika, symbol, upon which you superimpose the idea of Ishvara and meditate. Why do they prescribe Om? Japa karma swadhyaya adyanteshu bahusha prayogat. Om is most famous in the Vedas, in the Vedic tradition also. Om is prescribed as with all japa, swadhyaya, etc. So Om Namah Shivaya. They say Brahmana pranam kuryat adavante, says that pranam or omkara, everything should begin with omkara. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. So Om, Adau, in the beginning. Sometimes Adau Antecha. Sometimes they repeat Gayatri mantra, begin with Om, Bhurvuvasvaha, and then conclude also Dhyayana Prasodyat Om. Adau Antecha. Brahmana Pranam Kuryat. Say that a Brahmana should recite Om in the beginning as well as the conclusion. Otherwise, without the Om, if you repeat that, then the effect is gone away, so they say. Therefore, Omkara is prescribed with many japa, with swadhyaya, recital of the Vedic Vedas. Om iti brahmana pravakshannaha. Brahmo. So he says, Brahmana says Om and then recites. May I now recite the Vedas? And so on and so forth. So, the Taittiriya Upanishad also sings a lot about Omkara and glory of the Omkara. Never, Om is prescribed here as the pratika or symbol upon which you superimpose idea of Ishvara, that this is Ishvara, and then repeat in your mind, meditate. So meditation is upon Om with the idea of Ishvara. In pratika, that pratika is predominant, and there is another kind of meditation. I don't want to confuse too much, but the other kind of meditation where the pratika becomes secondary and what is superimposed becomes primary. In one thing, pratika remains primary, what is superimposed becomes secondary. So, Omkare Paramatma Pratike Dhrudam Aikagra Lakshanam Matim Santanuyat. What is upasana? What do you mean by meditation? Omkare Paramatma Pratike. Omkara, which is pratika, the symbol of Paramatma. Dhrudam Aikagra, may you focus your mind single pointedly, and may there be a flow of the thought, of single-pointed thought on Omkara, with the idea that it is Paramatma. Meaning that it is not meaningless sound in that sense, it's a sound that means Paramatma. So with that in your mind, it doesn't happen overnight. This takes a long time for this to happen. But basically meditation, as you must have heard, is explained as so sajatya vritti pravaha. Pravaha is flow. Vritti of the thought. Sajatya of the same jati, same kind. The same thought, when there is a flow of the same thought for a period of time, that is called upasana meditation. So it's Om, 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 Om. So the advantage of Om is that it's a very shortest mantra. Easy to repeat. If you start with long mantras, then in between you forget or you get distracted also. The mantra is too long, then Om Bhur Sva Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya. By the time, the mind goes over someplace, it's quite likely. Not that you shouldn't, I'm not saying you don't, all I'm saying is the advantage of a short mantra, I'm not saying anything else. about mantras are some very long, so many long mantras which have their own reason and their own power and purpose, etc., etc. So balati bala mantra, etc. goes, and even to remember itself is the first thing, and then. But in that sense, this is the shortest mantra. Om, Om. And so Bhashyakara says that may you maintain a flow of that thought. Om, Om, with the idea of Paramatma. So advantage of this is that while in fact you are only mentally repeating Om, it also creates in mind the bhavana of Paramatma. And that is how, what is the effect of that? Effect is purification of the mind and concentration of the mind. So this is very important, that upasana or mental worship brings about purification, because we are focusing or centering our mind on something that is purer than the purest. So Ganges is supposed to be purifying, and if you take a dip in the Ganges, then it seems that all your sins are washed out. And thus there are many purifying things in this world, but pavitranam pavitram, that which makes even Ganges also gives the capacity to purify, so that is purer than the purest Ishvara. Therefore, when you focus your mind upon Ishvara, when that thought is going on in your mind, naturally by osmosis the mind also becomes pure. So upasana brings about purification of mind, brings about concentration of mind. But it's not easy to do. That's why we said yesterday that Lord Krishna, when he begins the 6th chapter of the Gita, which is called Dhyana Yoga or Yoga of Meditation, the verse begins with Karma Yoga. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma kar. So Karma Yoga is described that one who has thus prepared one's mind with the discipline of Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga is the grossest form of worship. Karma Yoga is grossest, means involves most activities, and that's form of worship of Ishvara. The second level of worship is called upasana or meditation, where only mental activity is there. An ultimate form of worship is contemplating upon Ishvara and knowing Him. That's the ultimate form of worship. So you can say all along it is bhakti, worship. Karma Yoga, because it's Karma Yoga because it involves karma, it involves activities, as we said yesterday, it gives our mind a scope, to think of many things, of which the focus is Ishvara. So when you see the priest performing this ritual in the temple, he does so many things, so many steps are there. And then he gives bath, and then he gives the garment, and gives ornaments, and a lot of things he does. So all activities are different, so many activities are involved. But when he's bathing the Lord, the central idea is Ishvara. Isn't it? That you're bathing. You are offering or covering with garment. Again, the idea is, the action is covering with garment, but then the focus is upon Ishvara. Offering ornament, decorating, he paints things on the Shivalinga and ornamentation is done. Again, the focus is what? Ishvara. So this puja or worship becomes the first step of bringing Ishvara into our life. Because our mind, even though it has a lot of activities and therefore it's easier for the mind to do the puja. At the same time, all along, a subtle thought of Ishvara is there. There is a flow of Ishvara thought in our mind. So in that way some meditation takes place even while doing the puja, you follow? Because in the mind, the thought of Ishvara is there. Not in a little diluted way. So Karma Yoga is the diluted way of worshipping Ishvara. This Upasana is more focused way of worshipping Ishvara. And knowledge is the most the ultimate way of worshipping Ishvara is identification. If worshipping is nothing but expressing your love for Ishvara, then culmination of love is identity, isn't it? So first you please him with all kinds of things, as everybody does, to cultivate that relationship. You bring some gift there, write a letter, I do this, send a card. And then more acquaintance, and then Rati, then thinking more and more, and then what would he like, what would she like, etc. So Rati, and then Tushti, and then Trupti, so different levels are there of, the association, the relationship, culminates into oneness. So this is how, knowing Ishvara as a self is the culmination of that. So this is all preparation for the Upanishad or the knowledge of the non-duality that is going to follow. The dualities now become subtler and suddenly, Vyavahara duality is very gross. In Puja, the duality becomes less gross. In Upasana, much less. And then knowledge, it is eliminated. So that's how you progress. And that's the reason why the Upasanas are here talked about before the Brahma Vidya. Tasya Upavyakyanam, and then here the Upanishad says that we are going to now, it's commentary here, Upavyakyanam. We are going to expound upon Omkara. Why are we asking to meditate on Omkara? So in next few passages they sing the glory of Omkara, how glorious Omkara is. So this style of Upanishads or Vedas, that when they ask you to meditate upon something, they also sing the glories of that thing, because we always love to think or worship that which is glorious, which is inspiring. So when you listen to glories of somebody, Mahatma Jnana Purvastu, when Mahatmya or glory of somebody is listened to, then our mind automatically glows in there. So when they prescribe this kind of meditation, they also describe the glories of. So what is Omkara? The glories of Omkara are described in next passages, which we are not going to go into much details, but Rasatamatvam, it says Omkara is essence, the ultimate essence. Just to give an example of how Omkara is the essence of everything, Upanishad says, so first, Esham Bhutanam Prithvi Rasaha. See, all the beings are there. What is the essence of all the beings is Prithvi, earth, because they all emerged from the earth. All beings have emerged from the earth, sustained by the earth. They merge back, isn't it? We have emerged from the earth, this body, made of Prithvi, sustained by Prithvi, which is food, and goes back into food. So the earth is the essence of this body. Earth is the essence of all these beings. Esham Bhutanam Prithvi Rasaha. Of all the beings, Prithvi, the earth, is the essence, Rasa. You remember Raso Vaisaha, ultimately, Ishvara is described as Rasa. Rasa means, of course, the Ananda or the joy. But this Prithvi is the Rasa of all the beings. Prithivyaha Apo Rasaha. The water is the Rasa or essence of Prithvi, because Prithvi is emerged from water, and Prithvi or earth is pervaded by water. So water is that which retains binds all the particles, which keeps the Prithvi bound. If water evaporates, then this Prithvi will disintegrate into dust. What keeps all the dust particles bound together is water. And so, that water is the essence of Prithvi. Apam Oshadayo Rasaha. What is the essence of water? The Oshadis, the herbs and vegetables and plants are the essence of water, because water manifests, ultimately water expresses itself as the very taste and the very nourishment in the Oshadis of the plants. So basically plants are made of water and earth. Therefore Oshadis, the plants, are the essence of water. Oshadinam Purusha Rasaha. These plants and vegetables become the food and they are consumed by us. So what are we? Nothing but we are made up of the oshadis or plants and food. So Purusha, the person is the essence of these oshadis. Then of the human being, of all the species, human being is the essence of all these oshadis or vegetations. And what is the essence of a human being? So what do you think is the most important organ of a human being? That distinguishes human being from other living beings. Organ. This is vak, speech. Other entities cannot talk. All of them have their mind and some kind of... But speech is what distinguishes the human being from everybody else. And speech is that with which you utter the Vedas. Sama is sung also by speech. So speech is the essence of a human being. Of the speech also, what is the essence? The Rigveda is the essence of the speech. What is the essence of Rigveda? Sama is the essence of the Rigveda. What is the essence of the Sama? Udgita is the essence of Sama. And what's the essence of Udgita? Omkar is the essence of Udgita. So, Isha Rasanam Rasatamaha. Therefore, this Omkara is the Rasatamaha. The most proximate, most exalted essence of all the essences. That's the glory of Omkara. So the Upanishad sings thus the glory of Omkara, so that we know how great Omkara is, and thus we can then, the meditation becomes easier when we think of Omkara with its glories. And then other things are also described, how Omkara is all pervasive. And so, next passage thus describes the glories of Omkara in order to support this injunction that may you meditate upon Om, or with Aksharam. So thus Upanishad begins with the word Om, prescribes meditation upon Om. You can even say that what follows is nothing but the exposition of Om. Upavyakhyanam will expound the Omkara. Not only the next passages, the whole Upanishad is exposition of Omkara. Om means Brahman, that alone is everything. And therefore, the whole Upanishad can be said to be the exposition of Omkara. That's why the Upanishad begins with the word Om. Okay, we'll continue now in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.